Hello, my name is Matthias and I'm back with an episode of my best purchases 2022. When I was younger, I was really into heavy metal and hard rock and the usual stuff. Kiss, Iron Maiden. Well, I bought a lot of records and I got a lot of metal records when I was a kid at Christmas and as birthday presents. I have sold off some of the really bad hair metal stuff, but there are some bands that I have kept and that I like, and I still purchase hard rock and metal if I find anything that appeals to me. So I will show you few records that I bought this year that is really nice. Some are new discoveries and some are stuff that I did like back then, and it's a little bit of everything. Who would have known, a garage rocker like me? I will start with this one, VITUS. It's a California band. Actually, I just saw this record in one of the record stores, and well, looking at the sleeve and the guys on the back standing with palm trees beside a cross, I thought, well, this looks good, I have to listen to it. Looks like a hippie guy as well. It looks funny, but titles like White Magic, Black Magic, Zombie Hunger, The Psychopath, Burial at Sea. Now, I just thought this must be good. And it actually was really good. This is a German pressing on Noise. Apparently these guys were into Black Flag and that kind of stuff. So it's a bit messy and dark, a kind of a blend of genres actually. It was released in 1984, so really nice punky hardcore heavy metal. Here's another one, a long time want actually. DANZIG, Lucifuge, or DANZIG 2. It's the second record with the band DANZIG. It's a US press that I found. These are really tough to find. It was released in 1990 on the Deaf American. Here we have the inner sleeve. It's not the best copy, but it's still a nice copy and plays well. I remember when I was a teenager and I was really into DANZIG's first and second album, and it's just great. Long Way Back from Hell, Snakes of Christ, Killer Wolf, they are all great on this album. Here we have another band that I did not listen to back then. It was a bit too heavy for me, but I have sort of rediscovered them in later years. So I found this Slayer album, South of Heaven, released in 1988. I found this early this year, and it's definitely a favorite of mine. Def Jam recordings, like the DANZIG record actually. I remember going to a festival in Denmark called Roskilde, and Slayer were playing there. But back then, I think it was in the late 90s, I was not into this kind of heavy metal. So I actually missed them, which I kind of regret today. This was not the only Slayer album I have found this year. I also found a copy of their first album, Show No Mercy. This is a European pressing from I think it was maybe 1983 or 84. I don't remember exactly right now, but it might be that it was released a year later than the US pressing on Roadrunner Records. Lovely album. This was in really nice condition as well. Great pictures on the back sleeve. Yeah, great album. And another Slayer album that I found this year, Hell Awaits. It's a US pressing, but this is in really rough condition. You can see here probably many parties. And the inner sleeve does not look very good either. You can see like it's tape here. But I kind of like it. I mean, that's the way records were handled back then when you were a teenager. You didn't care much about the records, more than it was more about the music. But it's still a playable copy. Metal Blade Records, a US original from 1985. Another great record that I found was this, Trouble, Run to the Light, released in 1987. It was on Metal Blade Records. Unfortunately, the vocalist Eric Wagner passed away this year, or if it was last year, I don't remember. But we had the label. It's a great Black Sabbath influenced metal, and this record has a nice insert as well. Yeah, great record as well. I have been looking for their album from 1989, which I don't have, but then I happened to see this one and was a bit surprised. It was really good, so I bought it. Here's a record that I actually had on CD when I was a teenager. Law and Order, Guilty of Innocence. These guys looks like a hair band. If you look here, they look like, you know, the average LA Guns N' Roses kind of guys. But the style they have is more, yeah, it's something between the 70s hard rock of Led Zeppelin and the alternative Seattle grunge scene, before the grunge scene actually got popular. This was released in 1989, so they kind of got caught between the hair band and the grunge scene. All the record labels back then lost interest in bands that looked like this. So they did this record, and I think one more, and then they got dropped by the label. But I really like this album. It's, like I said, it's a lot of Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith influences. They also do a cover of Lynyrd Skynyrd's song The Needle and the Spoon, which is an anti-drug song, which is really good. And you can hear the grunge influences, but without the annoying grunge type of vocals, at least for me. I'm not too fond of that kind of singing, but this is really nice. MCA was the label. Next record up, that was the American metal albums that I have found. So now I will show you a bit from Britain and Scandinavia. VENOM, Welcome to Hell. Fantastic record. Yeah, I really like VENOM because It's really messy playing, and yeah, definitely a forerunner to black metal, or yeah, like Mayhem and all those bands that came a lot later. This was released in 1981 on Neat Records. I really like the sound of this album. Maybe it's the garage gene in me that make me appeal to this kind of music. It's titles like Sons of Satan, Welcome to Hell, Schizo, Mayhem with Mercy, Poison, Live Like an Angel, Die Like a Devil, Witching Hour. It's fantastic. 1000 Days in Sodom. And of course In League with Satan is a classic, yeah. Next one up is a bit more obscure. WITCHFYNDE, Given Hell. Funny, I like the cover art. And I mean, if I see a record that looks like this and have the titles like this, and a band that looks like this, I mean, it must be good. And it actually is. It's a fantastic record. This is a Swedish pressing from 1980 on Planet Records. And here we have the label. It looks fantastic as well. Very do-it-yourself like. This record, it looks more heavy than it is. It's more like I don't know. It's a bit punky rock or hard rock. It's more hard rock than heavy metal. But a fantastic record. It's really good. Another British band, Marionette. Blonde Secrets and Dark Bombshells. It's a bit, yeah, it looks like a glam rock band or hair band, but it's a lot of punk influences. And a bit similar to Hanoi Rocks. Nice record. It's very primitive sound. It's more punky. Released in 1985 on Heavy Metal Records. Brilliant, just brilliant. It's dedicated to the Hanoi Rocks drummer Russell. They probably knew him, and actually Mike Monroe is pictured on the sleeve here as well. I found a Swedish band. Also, I just saw the cover art and I thought this must be fantastic, and it was. Burn. And you can see the guys here. Yeah, brilliant. It's definitely like new wave of British heavy metal influenced hard rock, and but a bit more primitive in sound, quite like early Iron Maiden, I would say, but really good album. Gates of Hell, Get Lost, Burn in Fire, Make Her Mind, Fade Away. Yeah, fantastic record. Yeah, it was released in 1983. Highly recommendable if you like do-it-yourself hard rock or heavy metal. Last record I will show you here is Merciful Fate. Danish band, Don't Break the Oath. These guys were really great musicians, and it's almost like a prog rock influenced heavy metal. And King Diamond, the vocalist, has a very original vocal style with high falsetto, but also sings in a lower manner. It was recorded and released in 1984. Fantastic record. It was on Music for Nations and Roadrunner Records. This one is yeah, quite worn, but the record in itself sounds good. Here we have King Diamond, the vocalist. That was it. That was my best of heavy metal purchases 2022. I have these honorable mentions: Phantom Blue, American all-female heavy metal band; Torch, another record that I bought or checked out because of the fantastic cover art. It's a Swedish heavy metal band from the first half of the 80s. And Live After Death with Iron Maiden. It's signed by Steve Harris, and a record that I actually was missing in my collection. I only had it on cassette back when. So happy to find it. Yeah, that was it. Hope you enjoyed this episode as well. We'll see what I come back with. I think I have a few more records that are worth mentioning as best of 2022. Cheers.